Video game sequels can be hit or miss. Some are good, some are bad, but some are generally very well liked. They are beloved by the people that enjoy the original, well, by most of the people, but by a lot of the people. There's a few exceptions of people that just don't like the sequels for various reasons. Couple of people, me, mostly me, and these are the top 7 games ending in 2 that you liked but I didn't. Games that everybody seems to say that they have surpassed the original in every way, that they're better, that they're more focused, that they're enhanced, incredibilized, that they're the best possible version of that game. Except for me, because I don't think these are improvements at all. They're steps backwards, pointless, waste of time even. And I get called a crackpot for saying that in the release week. I'm just a hater, someone that hates things for likes, for views. Sure, sometimes a decade later after the release I'm vindicated, but until then, I'm just doing it for the attention. Well, pucker up, cause this is gonna get me even more death threats than the Diablo 3 video. So let's begin with number 7, Blood Omen 2. Now, I actually wasn't sure that people like this game, but in all honesty, as part of the Legacy of Kain series, it is god-awful. It's got none of the elegance of the story, of the acting even though it's some of the same actors, possibly because the writing is so much worse, so they don't have a lot to work with. It's just info dump after info dump after info dump. There is no elegance to it. The world design is just warehouse, sewer, castle. It makes Nosgoth look like a repetitive piece of crap, like a rejected Thief 2 map, with graphics that make Soul Reaver 1 look better. And Soul Reaver 1 is a lot older. The music is just totally forgettable. The gameplay consists of a really slow, boring as hell, repetitive, and fundamentally pointless combat system where you can block anything apart from a special move that you can then use to kill the enemy, and that's how you beat most bosses. There's puzzles in it, involving boxes and levers and crates and nothing actually interesting. But wait, you say you have vampiric powers, yes, and they don't do much, honestly. You're not even an actual vampire in the game. I mean, you steal souls without the Soul Reaver to get powers, and you breathe. Kain breathes. He's dead. He shouldn't breathe. And there's a story there, I think. Doesn't matter because the story is pointless. It's irrelevant. It's not canon. It's a game that was released a year too late, with technology way out of date, and honestly based on games that were not even Legacy of Kain games. Originally the game was Sirens, then it was Shakan the Forever Man 2, and then they made it this because, I don't know, someone really wanted a shirtless guy with a sword in a game, I guess. Power to you, but did he have to make the rest of it so bad? Blood Omen 2, you have to understand, is part of the Legacy of Kain series, which is a series of superb games that also has Nosgoth in it for some reason. They are magnificent, and to have a game this poorly made in it, it may as well be the plague. No one should touch it, but people seem to like it for reasons unknown. Number 6, Risen 2. People like this game. I don't get why. And this comes from the perspective of a rabid fan of the Gothic series. I will shove Gothic 2 and 1 down anybody's throat at any time of the day, any time of the night. I will wake you up and shove the CD of the game in your face and tell you to play it, so maybe that in the morning you'll think it was a dream and play it. And I think Risen 1 is a damn near good game compared to the old ones. It's got some issues, but it's in the right place, it's on the right track. It could have been the revival of the Gothic series, of the Gothic game style, for a new age, for new people. It even had a console version so everybody can enjoy it. It was a bad console version, but hey, you know, it's Eurojank, you'll get used to it. And then Risen 2 came out, with a combat system that was not functional when it was released. It was just not working. You know, you couldn't block things for reasons, but they fixed that. Risen 2 is a pirate-themed game, which is okay. I mean, Piranha Bytes has been wanting to do pirates, like, they've had hints of wanting to make pirates a big thing since Gothic 2. And this could have been it. This could have been, oh, the pirate game. It's fantasy pirates, it's in the world of Risen, it's gonna be fun. The story is akin to a rejected draft for one of the later Pirates of the Caribbean sequels. Holy hell, it's like the last one, isn't it? Only the villain is even worse than Javier Bardem's character. You fight a Titan who, I don't know, is just there. He showed up. I didn't think Titans looked like that and did things like that and stuff. You fight a Kraken on a boat in a quick-time event cinematic type of affair, which is, yeah, so gothic. And I think actually the final fight with Mara did end with a quick-time event. But I can't be sure because I've scrubbed most of the game out of my memory. No, it starts okay. It starts out with, well, Patty, when she still had human characteristics, and you go on a journey and you start from zero, and you start from scratch, and you build up your powers, your forces to take down the big evil thing, and it just doesn't flow well, does it? I mean, moving from island to island, it doesn't have the same freedom to it as the previous Gothic games did. Whereas Resident 1, yeah, there's elements of those games in there, but they're not fleshed out, they're not well made. And any improvements that could have been made to Resident 1 were just thrown out the window. Let's put guns in, let's not add more interesting weapons to vary up the playstyle. No, let's just have it be guns with pirates and stuff that's not really all that great when you actually try to use them. Let's make this more of a Hollywood style cinematic type of affair that no fan of the actual Gothic or Resident series likes. But you know, some of the console people that said that Resident 1 was crap because you were sweeping the floor at one time may enjoy it now and buy it. And I think some of them did. Like, I see people saying that they like this game. I'm not sure if it was a big seller on consoles. Don't think it was on PC, especially since they kind of completely screwed up the visuals. Like, this game looked dreadful because of the lighting, which is heartbreaking to say, because Gothic and Risen, they looked amazing. They were vistas in that game that I would climb towers, I would climb into trees. You cannot climb trees in these games, but I found ways just to take a look at the sunset, at the moonrise over an island, over a little castle up in the distance. There was none of that here. It just had that goddamn filter on it, because the engine without the filter cannot properly actually render light. But hey, people liked it. I don't. And I'm not even going into the bugs like the Eurojank stuff, like enemies getting stuck in the walls or Patty teleporting all over the place. Actually, Patty teleporting all over the place is an improvement because she can get lost. But in terms of quality, in terms of integrity, in terms of gothicness, risenness, this was not it at all. Number 5, Modern Warfare 2. I can hear your pitchforks. Light up the torches, go on, go on. Here's the thing, I enjoyed Modern Warfare 1. It was rushed in terms of its single player campaign. It felt like a really excited kid trying to show you all his toys. Look, there's a thing, let's play with that. Okay, now let's go there, let's play with that. Let's go there, let's play with that. It just took you from action to action to action to action to action. It don't really let you, fully immerse yourself in them, enjoy them to their fullest. But for what it was, it felt okay. Like, it felt like the starting point of something that could be fantastic. Then Modern Warfare 2 came along and realized, oh my god, that was actually the end point. They're not trying to improve upon any of this, are they? They're just doing that again, but worse. It was just a follow the waypoint simulator, nothing else. Go to the waypoint, go to the waypoint, kill some people, go to the waypoint, kill some people, go to the waypoint, kill some people. All that tied with a really shitty story that was told in a way that was so overblownly serious without an ounce of self-awareness that you think it would cross the line and become funny, but it didn't. And it also had that airport scene, one of the stupidly designed scenes I've ever seen in a game, where your character is, quotation marks, given a choice to kill these people or not. Oh, and I would see, the message was, well, I didn't kill anybody in my game, cause it's a reprehensible thing to do. I mean, and the idea of it, well, you're supposed to feel hatred for the main villain, that, oh my god, he killed all those people. Yeah, I was there with a very, very big machine gun and a bunch of bullets, and the moment he opened fire, I had, as an undercover CIA agent type thing, I had all the authority to shoot his ass a mega bajillion times. But when I do that, the game says, oh no, game over, your cover is blown, oh no. And what happens like 5 minutes later? Oh, you're shot, your cover was already blown, and this whole thing was pointless, wasn't it? I'm not mad at the villain, he's just a villain. I'm mad at the game designer that took away that choice of mine in a stupid way. You gave me a game over for, exercising my free will and agency as a player. That scene should have been a cinematic. That's it. Making it playable means that you expected me to do something in there. I didn't have anything to do in there other than just kill some people and then die like it says in the script. I'm game's supposed to follow the script. So there's no point in making that scene playable. Have that as a cinematic. Then it would have worked. But no, you put me in there. And by putting me in there, you made me think, oh, I can do things here, can't I? Oh yes. Otherwise, why would they put me in here? Why make the scene playable? Because it was a piece of trash marketing stunt that got a lot of attention. Before we say, well, the rest of the game was superb. I mean, you got to defend that burger joint and things. Again, it was a follow the waypoint game. You follow the waypoint, kill a bunch of people there. They didn't follow the waypoint again. It was meh. And you're going to say, well, what about the big reveal with the betrayal and poor Ghost? Man, I cry every day when I remember poor Ghost. Okay, name one characteristic that you remember about Ghost apart from him wearing that ghost mask, the skull mask. He is one of the most overhyped, overexposed, and least interesting characters since Boba Fett and Captain Gwendolyn Christie. Oh, Phasma. Yeah, and they wrote a gigantic book about her. It's about the size of 4 Bibles and details how her armor is actually made out of the plating of the Emperor's yacht. And I think Ghost has his own comic line for some reason. God, that game was dumb. And not dumb in a fun way. Dumb in the, oh, the campaign has 4 hours, but somehow I feel like I've been playing it for 5 years and it's still going and it still sucks. Oh yeah, the campaign had just 4 hours. Because, you know, $60 game. Why would it have an enjoyable campaign when it can just jump right into the multiplayer and teabag noobs? But I guess that's what people were in for. The multiplayer. Which is, you know, Counter-Strike with grenade spam. Number 4. The Witcher 2. Oh, you are at the gates right now, I see. Man, the mob looks really angry. So, here's my problem with The Witcher 2. It's a complete bastardization of the original intent of the series. In terms of gameplay, it is a console game. And I say that in the worst way possible. I'm not saying that all console games are bad. No. It's a console-ified game in the worst way possible. It adds elements that someone who hasn't developed games for a console before thinks is what a console game should be, without any idea why they should be, and then just makes a really bad game in terms of gameplay. You can rag on The Witcher 1's combat all you want. It was based on a Neverwinter engine. It tried to make it a bit more engaging. Didn't really work. But you know, there was room to grow. And instead of growing, they decided, ooh, let's copy Demon's Souls. Let's slap the mouse and keyboard out of anybody's hands who's testing the game at our offices and told them to play with a gamepad, because that's how you play PC games, right? The combat system of the game was dumb. I mean, not dumb because it was abusable, because, you know, using Quen you were essentially immortal, but because every attack you did, Geralt would just fly halfway around the map and randomly punch someone in the back of the head. Unless you're locked on, of course. Even if you're locked on, so it was a bad combat system. And considering combat is what you did most throughout the game, that wasn't a good thing. It's a game that really struggled with identity. You know what The Witcher 1 was. It was The Witcher. You felt where it was made, by who it was made, who it was meant for. The Witcher 2, well, we've got orchestra now, we've got budget. Look at our interfaces now. They're all super duper console-y, and look at the character screen, and it just doesn't fit. They made it worse. They made an interface worse with the second game, even though they had one they had improved upon in the first game. The first one's inventory system was garbage, but they improved it. Like, they knew how to make it so it wasn't garbage. With the second one, they made it garbage. With the second one, they made the entire interface garbage. Instead of it having be, you know, part of the world with books and scrolls and things that actually looked like they were from the age they were all on that genetics thing that, yeah, he's a mutant, but they didn't have microscopes back then. Like, they couldn't see the thing, so why did you have the interface that looks like that? The graphics were partially an improvement and partially, oh my god, my eyes are burning. The lighting again was completely awful. Almost like they saw reason 2 and thought, you know what, we can make it worse. And they did. The game had an obsession for being limited. Limited in every way possible. I saw a demonstration of it a couple of months before release where you could actually jump over things, and I thought, oh my god, finally, you can jump over things. Thank god, this is gonna be a massive improvement over the first. They couldn't do it. They didn't do it. You couldn't jump. You could only jump in predefined places, and only if you press X. Press X to do something, press X to do... No, that's not how you make a game. That's how you make a PowerPoint presentation. There was also an obsession with door frames. Whenever you enter the door frame, you just went through it. Like, you had no control over the character anymore. You just went through it. No choice. Because the door frames were loading zones, because this was made for, you know, it was made to work on 512 megabytes of RAM that the Xbox 360 had. Yeah, even the PC version was made like that, because, you know, this was a console game, first and foremost. That's why it didn't ship with support for anything other than 16:9 in terms of screen format. So if you're thinking to yourself, oh, I'm gonna sneak past the sky like in the first level, just to the door frame like easily, no. Just stop sneaking, started walking through, and it was a mess. It was a complete and utter mess. Especially because they added quick time events everywhere. And you're gonna say, so, well, the first one had quick time events. I mean, you had to do quick time events to the combat thing. No, those were chain combos. It's not a quick time event. It doesn't say press 6 now to beat that guy in the face. No, it was a different thing. And there was also the story, which something about the Marian, the council, and the witches, and possibly trade tariffs. I don't know. It didn't feel like Geralt's story, because it wasn't. It was the Marian and Redanian and Nilfgaardian intrigue. And there's Geralt, he's there. Was the first one felt a lot more personal, a lot more tied to the character. There was a reason for him to do the things he did there. Here it was a bit more tangential. It was like The Witcher Gaiden. The side story was actually the main story. It should have been the main story where he remembers things, but that's kind of off to the side, over there, not all that interesting. And gotta be honest, I hate The Witcher 2 Triss. The Witcher 1 Triss wouldn't get kidnapped by anyone. I think actually does get kidnapped in the first one, but no. The Witcher 1 Triss was assertive. She was nice. She was Yennefer from the third game. In The Witcher 2 they made her sweet and completely nude. Which, okay, I'm not entirely against those aspects for certain reasons, but it kinda ruined the character. And this comes from the perspective of someone that just played the first game up until that point. People that read the books will tell you that, oh, they ruined this character completely for different reasons. I'm just saying it more for the fact that they just completely changed the character from The Witcher 1 to The Witcher 2. And in my opinion, not in a good way. But yet, CD Projekt did step up and partially fixed The Witcher 2 with the Enhanced Edition that remade the last part of the game, and I never actually got to play the last part of the game with the Enhanced Edition, mostly because I had finished the game twice before all that. Number 3, Crysis 2. Man, people were sure excited about this one. People sure loved it. Even Told Biscuit said that the single player campaign of Crysis 2 is good. It's not. Good God, this game gave me nightmares. Well, not actual nightmares, but reviewing it was an experience akin to... Well, I describe it as something, but I think this video would get banned, and also I'm not comfortable sharing that with other people. Let's just say it was excruciating. First and foremost, what's the story of this game? Where the hell is Nomad? Oh, apparently he died off in a comic. Well, fuck you! No, instead you're playing as Alcatraz, who's a Marine of Marines. And he gets Prophet's nanosuit, and now he's a Marine with a nanosuit. He's a wet noodle. Like, this guy gets knocked out more than Giles from Buffy. And all he does for the game is pointlessly meander around doing nothing. He's on the run from the military because there's some sergeant who thinks that, oh, I know how to do things better. Sir, there's an alien invasion. We need help. No, I know how to do it better. Sir, you don't. You're an asshole. No, I'm not. Yes, it does. It says so in the script. Oh, yeah. And then there's the corporation that's evil. It's, I don't know. It's just there. And why? Why is any of this happening? The writer of this thing said that Halo had a bad story? Really? Really? My god, man. You know what they say about people who throw stones in glass houses, right? You're shit at writing. That's what they say. What really bothered me about this game is that they took the first one, though I still consider to be foremost a great tech demo, and the game second. It was a fun game. Wouldn't say it was the greatest ever, superb, one of my top 10 favorites or something, but it had a sense of freedom to it, sense of enjoyability of just dicking around with things and people. All that's gone in Crysis 2. No more. It's gone. It's kaput. Finito. Dead. Instead of a sprawling jungle, you have a really, really limited city with limited view distance because this is a console game with worse graphics than the first one, with less scope than the first one, with less freedom than no wait. When you get to a point in the game, like when the game lets you choose something, you can choose between doing something stealthy, doing something non-stealthy and doing something, I forgot the third option. There was sometimes a third option. And those are the only places you would have choices. Otherwise it would be just a fight, a follow the waypoint marker style game where you fight really dumb enemies. I mean stupid ones, like incredibly dumb. I think they may have patched them later on because they were dumb as bricks initially. Then as I said, the story is nonsense. You achieve nothing. It tells you to go there to get a thing. Oh no, the thing is gone. No, go there to find the guy. Oh no, the guy is gone. And that's the entire game. It was just so goddamn boring. It had less options in the first one, less enjoyment, less freedom. And the enemies themselves, my god, were they a step down. They were just copying Halo's enemies for the aliens. You had your brutes, you had your elites. Where was the interesting stuff? Where were the flying drone things like from the Matrix? Those were interesting. Where was the giant enemy crab? I think there was one. No, that may have been an Easter egg. No, it was the giant chicken. Where's the giant chicken? None of that. It just made it boring. Oh, and the last fight. Oh my god, the boss fight. You had to fight these super duper elites. I killed them with melee. I just punched them to death. And then I finished the mission. Cause I'm a Marine. And all this because Sociable, which is... For those who don't know, Sociable designed these games in Far Cry a bit, and he leads Crytek, and he's sort of Europe's Randy Pitchford, where he thinks he's a genius and he will defend any bad decision he makes to the death and just entrench himself deeper into bad decisions. Well... That explains most of Crysis 2. He wanted to make a console game, didn't know how to make Crysis as a console game, and just made a shitty game. One that really, really marked the 9/11 tragedy, like superb. Like, they milked it so incredibly well, and they had Hans Zimmer on the soundtrack, and it was just so dumb. Oh, no destruction physics in it at all, because, you know, why would you have destruction physics in a game where now you're in a populated area, you could maybe tear down buildings? No. Screw you for expecting improvements. Number 2, Dead Space 2. I'll just come out and say it, I didn't play the first one. People have been telling me that the first one is a superb horror game, it's magnificent. Could be, probably is, haven't played it. But the second one, people have said, oh, this is the best game of this console generation. What are you on? I don't think it's illegal, whatever you're on, because not even in its genre of horror is it the best. Alan Wake kicks it 5 weeks away from Sunday with a sucker punch into the future and the past and a different dimension. It's a horror game. Dead Space 2 has, I'll give it 2, like it has 2 superb moments. Like 2 moments that are just flat out pants browning horrifying. The first one is like when you begin the game, like right at the beginning in the elevator. That part was amazing. And the last one is when you encounter the enemy that you can't kill. The one that just keeps following you and chasing you and beating you down and will not stop for anything. Amazing. Rest of the game, oh, I'm at a dead end. Oh, look, there's a hatch up there. I wonder if a bunch of enemies will come through that and I'm gonna have to stay here for about 10 minutes and kill them all, then go to the other corridor and do the same thing over and over again. Oh, there's an elevator. Oh, there's a hatch up there. I wonder if enemies are gonna come through it. Oh, they are. Even though the dismemberment mechanic is in the game, you know, it gets old. It gets old fast. It gets old quite fast because the game is so goddamn repetitive. It is repetitive to the point where you just think to yourself, okay, can I have something other than the mind-numbingly repetitive combat to do now? Well, you've got puzzles which are... this guy's an engineer, right? So he engineers things. I don't remember enough about the puzzles to say if they're bad or not, but they weren't impressive. Like, they were kind of meh, from what I remember, which isn't a lot. So they didn't offend me especially, but they're not memorable, like, at all. But come to think of it, maybe there was a Tower of Hanoi one. Then the story of the game was something about one of the writers watching Neon Genesis Evangelion and thinking, you know what, I can make something less sensical, which they did. Something about being stabbed in the eye, being part of a process of evolving and completing a ritual, and gotta be honest, I have no clue what it was about, and I was paying attention. It is just nonsensical for the most part. Probably required me to have played the first one, I mean, in which case my bad, but in the context of the game itself, it sort of drifted often into the territory. Though I will give it two things. The interface was really well made, where everything was integrated like in the universe, and the sound design was superb. But again, that's tech from the first game. It's not necessarily something inherent to this game. Oh, and the level design was corridor. Oh look, there's some shops there. Can you? Oh no, you can't. But it looks like you can explore that there. No, you can't. Hey, there's a side room here. Maybe oh, it's a blank wall. They could have at least put something in there and scare, a creepy moment. No, nothing, just an empty room. And yet people have touted it. I mean, journalists have touted it as the best game of its generation. No, again, not even the best horror of its generation. Alan Wake probably has that title, because probably gonna do a show about Alan Wake one day. You know what I loved about Alan Wake? Nobody in that game was stupid. The side characters, they had initiative, they had smarts, they knew what they were doing. They put the effort in there, even though the game's controls were utter garbage. But that's a story for a different time. Number 1, Mass Effect 2. Yeah, maybe making an entire show about how Mass Effect 2 is an absolute train wreck is still gonna come one day, but till then, Mass Effect 2 is a complete train wreck. It's not Mass Effect 3's ending that ruined the series. Mass Effect 2 did that a long time before it. BioWare, in its craze of everything has to be Star Wars, let's make Empire Strikes Back where everything is evil and dark and brooding and emo. Let's do that again. In its fervor to that, they made a really pointless game. Everything in Mass Effect 2 is completely pointless. There's no point to anything. Nothing. Absolutely zero. Everything you do is unconsequential. Everything that happens there is completely pointless. Apart from Mordin. Mordin is the game's saving grace. Mordin Solus should have been in his own game, starring in his own game, instead of Shepard. So let's start out with the story. So Shepard dies. A year later he comes back to life, and his friends, instead of saying, "Oh my god, Shepard, you're alive, what happened to you? We're trying to find you, but you're dead," stuff. Instead of doing that, they say, "Oh, I don't care, like, maybe you're working for the enemy. I'm Ashley. I should have blown up, but no. The player picked the wrong character." Shepard comes back to life, and that's never addressed. Like, never. The entire game, nobody says, "Hey, dude, you were dead. What was it like? Is there a Jesus?" Oh, no, wait. It is addressed. Because you are Jesus. You are Space Jesus. You have 12 followers, and you have to get a halo above their heads to save them. You have to do their side quest to get a halo above their heads to save them, which I find to be funny as all hell. The game is as linear as possible. It's a corridor shooter with chest-high walls everywhere, with repetitive battles that are so goddamn dull. Instead of making it more RPG and interesting, they just made it a cover shooter. Then there's no substance to it. Oh yeah, you have abilities. You can order your allies to use their abilities. You can do that in XCOM the Bureau too, and it didn't help it there either. The game is incredibly linear. You have basically no choices in that story at all. No, pardon, you do have one choice: to kill one Asari mage thing or the other one. You're still getting basically the same character archetype to join you, but you can't bang one because you'll die. And it's a binary choice with no context whatsoever when you actually get to it. It's what someone who doesn't really care would make of a quest. I mean, there's no option for you to maybe, try and de-escalate things, to bring about a peaceful resolution, what Space Jesus would have done. But this is the second game. It has to be dark. Everything has to be serious, grave, and there's a threat looming that the collectors are coming and they're kidnapping people and doing what knows to them, and the government isn't doing anything about it because the government covered it all up. Why the hell why would they? Why is the game so really entrenched in just making everything that happened in the first one seem like, oh, that didn't happen? No, it's no, like making everyone in the first game, even the ones that you save, the ones that with you think, you know what, now that basically this guy was right about everything and saved their asses, yeah, let's try and look into it. No, nothing happened. There was no point to what happened in the first game because the second game. And the second game, there's no point to it because there was never any point to it. You head to the collector base and you go on the quotation marks suicide mission. There is no suicide mission. If you did the minimum necessary, which includes upgrading your ship, doing everybody's loyalty quest so they'll become an apostle, and not being dumb when you decide who goes where, then bam, you win. Instant victory. Everybody's happy. Oh, and that suicide mission, yeah, That's straight up copied from Anachronox. That is Anachronox's last mission. It plays out exactly the same. It's uncanny how much it copies it. You even send the robot into ducts so it'll do things so that the rest of the teams can progress. Only in that one, you actually got to control the second team. In that one, the ending actually had an impactful emotional load to it. Because you weren't just fighting the medium from the Elder Scrolls, you were fighting someone you knew, someone you grew up with, someone who's been your enemy for years, who's brought you nothing but suffering to you and to those around you. But in Mass Effect 2 you have none of that. Why would you? It's an action movie. It's a dark one. Yeah, it's brooding and it's tense. You get the base, you either blow it up and piss off that guy, you keep it and piss off that guy, you give it to him and he betrays you anyway. And the collector base is it even mentioned in the third game? I don't think. Maybe it's mentioned, but it's pointless. It's completely pointless. It's an entirely pointless game. About as pointless as the plot to kill Shepard in the tutorial. Who? Why? Oh, maybe it was. Who the hell is that? Oh, it's in DLC. Yeah, yeah, sure. You know what else is in the DLC? The ending to the game. And I've seen people defend, oh, that's not the ending to Mass Effect 2. That's the beginning to Mass Effect 3. No, Einstein. It's a DLC for the second game. One in which you have no choices. One in which you have no decision-making capabilities, even less than in the base game. As in the base game, there's a moment like when Normandy gets attacked by the collectors. If you already were done with the missions you had done, for no reason, everybody that can hold a weapon in your team, like everyone in your team, just leaves to go on a mission that's never mentioned, even though there was no mission, just so the cinematic can trigger where there's the attack. It's even worse than that in that DLC, because you go alone for some reason, just so they can set up the third game, because, you know, nothing actually happened in the second game. It was pointless, it was a waste of time, and I finished it twice. And I've seen people have hundreds of hours in this game and I don't know how. I think they're just mining resources. Guess what? You can use cheat engine to get all of them. Because it's a stupid mechanic. It's a slow, agonizing, dumb mechanic. It's as pointless as the rest of Mass Effect 2. Apart from the bit where it alludes to, you know, the stars are dying, Shepard. Something is killing the stars. But you know, that never actually leads into anything. Because they scrapped that whole bit. Because that could have been the redeeming value of Mass Effect 2. Nothing left, all vanished, dead without a trace. And people say it's one of the best games ever made, best sequels ever made. If Modern Solus was not in that game, I would outright consider it to be one of the worst big budget games ever created. Modern Solus to me is the redeeming, not completely redeeming because he can't do wonders, but him singing, that's the only highlight of the game. Nothing else in it manages to go beyond mediocrity. So closes the top 7 games, ending in 2 that everybody loves but I don't. While I await my lynching, I would also like to give a special mention to Parasite Eve 2 for becoming a knockoff of Resident Evil instead of its own game like the first one was. See you all in the comments where people would say, oh, you're just doing this for the hits, for the likes, or you're wrong because you're wrong. And maybe the occasional person actually saying what their number 2 game that they didn't like was that everybody else seemed to like. Goodbye.